Alright, this is Andrew with Joda Home Inspections. Today is June 11th, 2025, and we're doing a sewer scope here in Sandy. We are at 1651 East, 11245 South, and we have the camera pushed out about 106 feet. We are not into the city connection. I've pushed the camera out as far as I can get it, and I'm still not reaching the city line. I would imagine this line is 130 feet or so would be my guess, and so I think there's still a fair amount of line that we're not seeing. I didn't see an access point that was accessible in the basement. I found one behind the water heater. That would be one of the best spots to go through. Where I'm going through is at the top of that pipe, and so it adds another 30 feet. Generally there's a handful of cleanouts. That's the main one, which is blocked, which we can't access, and then usually there's one outside. I didn't see one. It could be that it's there, but it's just been cut off and buried, and so I'll look for it as I pull it back. But right off the bat, looks like you have some standing water. My camera head is submerged right now, which is not ideal. That's probably also part of the reason why I'm having a hard time getting my camera to go through. I could be hitting a blockage. I could be kind of pushing uphill, which makes it more difficult. But never ideal to have standing water, because that indicates that you either have a blockage or that you have improper grade. Neither of those are good things. The only way to fix bad grade is to dig up the line and re-slope it, which still going through some standing water. There we're coming out of it, which is great. So certainly not the longest belly that I've seen, but still a little bit of a mystery on what's causing it, since we couldn't get the camera to go through it. When we're able to come out the other end and see that there's not a blockage, then we know that it's certainly just bad grade, or a belly, which is not good. If it's a blockage or a root, sometimes that's better, because you can clean that out and then things will drain better. I would recommend locating or adding another access point so you can access the rest of the line. You can also pull a toilet in the basement and push a larger camera through, and that might get you to the end of the line, so that's another option. Little tiny offset there. Looks like this is clay pipe, and with clay there's a lot more joints than some newer lines. You know, with plastic lines, newer plastic lines, it's 10 or 12 feet before you hit a joint. With clay it's 3 or 4 feet, and so there's a lot more areas where roots can come in, or where the pipes can separate and get those little offsets where waste can get stuck. That was a minor one that we saw. Little running water is fine. I run water to help push the camera out, and so that's okay to see. What you don't want to see is the standing water, that, especially when it completely submerges my camera head. Now we are transitioning to cast iron. Cast iron gets pretty rough and rusty, which you can see here on the screen. Eventually it will need to be replaced. You could coat the line, or they can clean it with basically a chain, carbide tipped chain. You can see waste, little pieces of toilet paper starting to get stuck, little standing water. If you clean it, it's going to be a lot smoother, less likely for waste to get stuck. But eventually, when cast iron needs to be replaced, that means digging up the concrete in the basement to get to it. This is a pretty common type of pipe for this age of house, and so I would imagine most of the houses in this neighborhood probably have it under them, unless they've already been replaced. I would recommend the insurance on this line. You could get sewer line protection through HomeServe, and that would help offset the cost if and when there's a bigger issue, or if you have a backup, or if it needs to be dug up. They can help put money towards that. But to recap, you do have some standing water. That's probably one of the more concerning things, because the only way to fix that is to dig it up. Also, we're not able to see the entire line, so it's a little bit of a mystery what's going on further down, especially under the street, where it's even more expensive to dig up versus digging up your lawn. You do have some cast iron under the house. That looks pretty rough. I'd say average for the age, but still pretty rough nonetheless. I'd recommend getting that clean, maybe having another access added if needed so that you can access the rest of the line. But first I would maybe try a different spot, different camera, and sometimes you can luck out and get all the way out. I'm going to end this recording now.